Tortoise is huddled under a shallow cave overhang. The rain has stopped, but the air is cold and damp. He realizes the journey will be long and difficult, requiring crossing the whispering sands. The scroll is covered in ancient, complex pictograms. Tortoise squints, trying to decipher them. Beneath the overhang, after the heavy rain, sat the tortoise. Tortoise believes the scroll points to a fountain of eternal youth.
He touches one symbol, a stylized image of a sacred spring. His eyes widen with greed.
He smiles, a cold, self-satisfied expression.
He begins to move out from the cave, heading away from the familiar woods toward the distant, unseen desert.
The next morning, Dog is following the faint trail. He moves with a slow, calculating intensity, not sadness.
Dog finds a small, crushed leaf, a sign Tortoise was rushing. He lifts his head and knows the direction. He sees the distant mountains, the next landmark. He realizes Tortoise is heading for the wilderness.
Kyle breaks into a steady, tireless run, not frantic, but paced for a long pursuit.
Tortoise continues his solitary march toward the setting sun, his shell heavy with the stolen secret.
His pace is excruciatingly slow. He struggles, the sand clinging to his legs.
He pauses, panting heavily. He remembers Dog's boundless energy and curses his own slow speed.
Tortoise walks in a sandy soil under the sun and spots a tiny oasis in the distance.
A mirage or real? He doesn't trust it.
He ignores the oasis, choosing to stick strictly to the path detailed in the scroll, which he briefly consults.
Hours later, Dog crests the same sand dune.
Kyle finds a very faint track, a small, almost invisible furrow left by the edge of Tortoise's heavy shell.
When you're worried, getting the right information is key. Subscribe to Royal Paws for expert advice and keep your best friend healthy.
Tortoise resting. He takes a long sip from a small, private water reserve, conserving it selfishly.
Kyle sees the mirage-like oasis and immediately runs toward it, knowing Tortoise would avoid a perceived trap.
He uses his knowledge of Tortoise's paranoid nature to deduce the slow creature's exact, cautious route.
Kyle breaks away from the oasis, energized, and takes a risky shortcut over a ridge of jagged rocks.
Tortoise, still plodding, sees Dog's dust cloud rapidly approaching over the horizon.
Akuko panics, trying to increase his speed, but only manages an awkward, desperate shuffle. He glances back over his shoulder, a flicker of worry about Dog's tracking ability. He dismisses it. Kyle closes the distance, jumping down from the ridge. He stops, exhausted but victorious, just yards away.
The two stand separated by sun-baked sand, the silent confrontation beginning. Kyle speaks, his voice flat and heavy.
The journey ends here, Tortoise. Give me the chest.
Tortoise attempts to bluff.
I don't know what you mean. You must be tired. Go back.
Kyle takes one deliberate, menacing step closer. I saw the scroll, Tortoise. I heard your words. Betrayal has a steep price.
Aku cornered, shifts tactics.
It's for the greater good. The knowledge is too great for us both. Only one can guard it.
Greater good? You seek eternal life, not wisdom. You stole a future meant for two.
When you're worried, getting the right information is key. Subscribe to Royal Paws for expert advice and keep your best friend healthy.
I don't want to hurt you, old friend. Just the scroll.
Aku realizes he cannot escape. His fear turns to resignation, then a final, defiant selfishness. He uses his hidden strength, lashing out and biting Dog's ankle quickly, then retracting fully into his shell.
Kyle recoils, shocked more by the betrayal's final act than the pain. He stares at the unresponsive tortoise shell.
Dog lifts his paw, preparing to use force to open the shell, but hesitates. He can't violate their past. Instead, Dog pushes the shell, sending it rolling toward the edge of the cliff.
He lets out a single, strong, unburdened bark, not of joy or anger, but of affirmation. He stands alone, the sun setting completely, the treasure and the friendship lost.
When you're worried, getting the right information is key. Subscribe to Royal Paws for expert advice and keep your best friend healthy.
Kyle turns slowly away from the cliff's edge.
He begins to walk back across the desert under a clear, cold, starlit sky.
Dog is back in the familiar woods, approaching his old, shared shelter. It is morning.
Kyle walks inside. He finds a small, dusty corner where Tortoise kept his few personal items. He saw a smooth river stone and a faded leaf.
Days later, Dog is trying to resume his normal routine, hunting and patrolling, but he is distracted. Kyle sees other friends in the woods, a family of rabbits, and avoids them, not wanting to explain the loss. Kyle walks round and pauses beside a big tree. The spot where Tortoise used to bask is now empty, marked by a flattened patch of earth.
Kyle continues walking, realizing the baobab tree itself is a monument to the lost friendship, a place of beginning and ending.
He instinctively checks the burial spot under the baobab tree, even though he knows it's empty.
He closes his eyes and pictures Tortoise from their youth, laughing, slow, but reliable.
When you're worried, getting the right information is key. Subscribe to Royal Paws for expert advice and keep your best friend healthy.
He lies down, curling into a tight ball, still exhausted from the pursuit. His energy is fundamentally diminished.
Dog turns his back on the past, focused on the future. The sun shines brightly on his face. Kyle stops on a high ridge overlooking his territory, a new sense of ownership and responsibility evident.